Fellas, AC here. Welcome to another review. Now, this is the last review of 2024 and I thought let's ring in 2025 together. It's already 2025 in some parts of the world, so I'd like to wish you all a very happy new year. Let's start. Cheers. Last year of 2024, and let's hope 2025 would be a fabulous year for all of us. Let's strengthen our belief in good things, goodness, humanity, more love for each other, more belief in each other and ourselves. Cheers. Let's drink to that. What am I drinking? Birra Moretti. Apparently it's Italian. It's brewed in Edinburgh, Scotland. So I do not know how much of this is actually Italian. But it's a nice beer. I thought I'll have a change amber ale to beer. Just something different. So, best designer releases of 2024. Now, this year has been a good year, I think, from my perspective of designer fragrances. I just brought out this leather jacket after a long time. I haven't worn it for ages, probably 7-8 years. So you can see the little wrinkles here, but I thought I'll bring this out just to feel a little and look a little bit more, special, rock starry. To do this wonderful video, I want to make this video a nice video. So this year has been a little bit more nicer for designer fragrances on two counts. Number one, I've seen perfumers make a little bit more effort in making fragrances a bit more creative, which really appeals to me. I like fragrances. I'm a lover of good perfumery, and I like it when you get fragrances that are nicer, more creative. There's more fun involved. It's not just trying to do one thing, that is to get people to women to drop their panties or convince you that it's a panty dropper or smell like food. I want fragrances to tell me a story, right? I'm a connoisseur. I love the art of perfumery. And that story is being told by many fragrances this year. So that's number one. And the second thing I really liked this year was most of the fragrances were good performing fragrances. Gone are those days of last decade when fragrances used to be good or decent with very poor performance. And I think the advent of Middle Eastern houses who produce clones but they're very strong has had an effect on the designer releases all across, from the small designer houses to the Diors and the Chanels. Chanel's not so much. I haven't seen anything from Chanel, but Chanel really lacks performance from whatever I've sampled. But Dior, for example, they're producing fragrances now which are strong. And those are the two positives I've seen, good quality fragrances, good quality perfumery, and good performance. That's what makes life really nice, once again. So, I've got 12 in this list here, and out of those 12 fragrances, I've reviewed most of them except two. And there was 3 fragrances that I thought when I was making this list that I thought that I should have sampled, but I couldn't, whatever the reasons. So number one I wanted to sample and couldn't was Angel Men Phantasm. Phantasm, I've heard, has a very nice tonka bean note. It's a nice woody, creamy scent. I like that kind of scent. I also like the original Angel Men. Couldn't sample Phantasm. When I get to sample it, I'll review it, most probably in the new year, early next year. So Phantasm was one definitely that should have been in this list, isn't. The next one is a flanker to one of my all-time favorite tobacco fragrances, which is Bulgari Man in Black Parfum. That's the fragrance I wanted to sample. I couldn't sample it, and if I get to sample it next year, I'll review it. I really like Man in Black. So any flankers of Man in Black, absolutely interested. The next fragrance that I couldn't sample I'm trying to remember which one was it. Boss Bottled Elixir. So I've reviewed Absolu. I couldn't sample Elixir. People have been praising it. I'm going to have a look and see if I can sample it, and then I'll review it. Those are 3 fragrances I couldn't sample. So let's start. This, as I said, this has got 12 fragrances. So let's start from the failures. Obviously there will be failures, but this year the failure will surprise you as it did surprise me. So the first 2 at the bottom of the list are the first 2 failures, and then the 10 fragrances. So let's talk about the failure first, because this surprised me and it surprised you all as well. It is from a house which I really respect a lot. Guerlain Habit Rouge Parfum. This fragrance, Habit Rouge, is my absolute favorite of all time. I'm a massive lover of Habit Rouge, and what this fragrance did was totally change that fragrance, and change that fragrance in a way which became a bit of a problem for me. It didn't smell like the original. It didn't have the energy, the vibe, and the character of Habit Rouge Elite. So when I reviewed this one, I was very severe on this fragrance. Some people like this fragrance, and I do understand that, but I'll go with what I think. And what Delphine Jelk has done is she has tried to focus on performance. So she's made this fragrance ultra strong. And to make it ultra strong, she's used a note of patchouli, which is amazingly waxy and leathery. And that waxy leatheriness smells more like sort of a fox leather sofa, which has been waxed. Too waxy. And what it does, it completely overshadows all the notes. I've done a detailed review. And in doing so, the whole character of Habit Rouge has been completely changed. Habit Rouge is a very effervescent, very, very sprightly and citrus dominant and beautiful, beautiful fragrance, which I absolutely adore. And this one, unfortunately for me, in my view, in my humble opinion, was a complete disaster. And if you want to make a fragrance which is patchouli heavy, spare Habit Rouge, because Guerlain already has patchouli dominant fragrances like L'Instant de Guerlain, Lidge, Heritage. Heritage has a lot of patchouli. So why touch Habit Rouge, which has very little use of patchouli? So yeah, in my view, this was a complete disaster. Now, before I go into the next failure, I'd like to tell you that there's another fragrance I wanted to sample, but I couldn't. And I tried really hard to get hold of it. I just couldn't. And that is Dior Homme Parfum. Dior Homme Parfum Intense. That's it. I'm just getting confused by the branding. I think it's called Dior Homme Parfum Intense. A new one. It's just come out. Right at the fag end of the year, it's come out. And it's available in the US. People in the US, the fragrance reviewers in the US have been reviewing it already. I tried to get hold of it. I went straight to Dior's website in the UK. It's not even there. It wasn't even visible there yesterday. So on the 30th of December. So I'm hoping in the new year I get to sample it. I'm really curious about it. It's one of my most favorite fragrances. Everybody on this channel who follows me knows this. Dior Homme Parfum is the ultimate fragrance for me as far as I'm concerned. And I'm a little worried because I went to the Fragrantica and checked out the notes, and there is patchouli. And the original doesn't have any patchouli. So apparently the oud and the rose has been replaced with more irisy smell. But I haven't sampled it yet. But when I saw that patchouli note, I got a little worried, because that's what has happened here in Habit Rouge. That patchouli has made this fragrance completely foreign to the connoisseurs of the actual smell DNA of Habit Rouge. Next on my list is another fragrance which is fallen victim to that patchouli. And it is one of the most hyped fragrances, but I just don't understand why it's so hyped. It is Boss Bottled Absolu. And this fragrance, again, tries to do a very, very familiar Middle Eastern DNA, which is fruits, saffron, leather. And it's that same patchouli here, which is waxy, and it smells great when it's been on blotter after 4 or 5 days, but no fragrance remains on your skin for 4 or 5 days. So this fragrance is trying to do the same Middle Eastern thing. Very expensive, and if you look at any small cheap Middle Eastern fragrance, £20 fragrance, they do that very easily. You know, fruits, saffron, oud or leather is a child's play in Middle Eastern perfumery. If you want to do Middle Eastern style perfumery and you want to charge so much, £100, at least make an effort to make it something special. So this one really bombed out as far as I'm concerned. It's really popular, and I still scratch my head as to why this is popular. And further down the list, I'll show you another fragrance which tries to do the same thing, much better and more reasonable price. So this price is what led this fragrance down. And obviously that patchouli note, which stops everything else from developing. So next on my list is another one which is almost a failure, but not the fault of the fragrance. So this one, let me show you the fragrance. I haven't reviewed it. And this is Dior Sauvage Eau Forte. Now, if you go to Fragrantica, this has a rating. This will surprise you. This has a rating of 2.40, right? And no fragrance on Fragrantica, on Dior at least, has a rating of 2.50 out of 5. I mean, this is probably one of the most hated fragrances at the moment. And there are 2 reasons for this. Number 1, let me first tell you what the scent is all about. I'll review it. So this fragrance is all about a new methodology, a new method of sort of emulsifying fragrance oils with water. So Eau Forte is not alcohol based, it's water based. And that, when you spray on your skin, leaves a really oily, sort of sticky residue which bothers people, right? And the second one is Sauvage is the most well-known fragrance DNA. When you spray this fragrance, it smells like Armani Code, the original Armani Code. It smells nothing like Sauvage, the EDT, or any of the Sauvages. So there's this heavy dose of lavender with very emulsified or creamy, watery spices and woods. It's a very strange fragrance. It's nice, but it completely surprises you. So let me give you an example, right? Let's take a very famous car. This car, right? If you don't know this car, this is Volkswagen Beetle. Very famous, very popular. It's an army of fans of this car. Now let me take another example, another car, okay? This one here. And take the badge and put it on Volkswagen Beetle. What do you think is going to happen? People are going to completely get surprised. See, the power of branding is very important. And I think, I'm not an expert in this, but you have to understand, a brand is a brand. You write Sauvage, people expect Sauvage, ambroxan, woods, sharpness, spices. And suddenly you make it smell like Armani Code. People say, wait a minute, hang on, what's going on here? People will get really annoyed. Like I got annoyed with Habit Rouge EDT. You know, you're telling me it's Habit Rouge, my mind is thinking Habit Rouge. And suddenly you give me some sort of a vanilla patchouli combination, which is super waxy, and you get seriously annoyed. This is what has happened. A fragrance brand is a brand. Stick to the brand. So I do not know what Maison Francis Kurkdjian is doing and has done here. It's not a bad scent. It's completely alien to Sauvage. And that's why I'm dreading Dior Homme Parfum Intense 2025. That's what I'm dreading. I hope they don't change that fragrance. I hope they respect that fragrance, because it is well loved by thousands and probably millions of people around the world. It's one of the most beautiful fragrances out there. So let's have a beer. Let's have a sip of beer. Cheers. Love it. Next on my list is another fragrance which I haven't reviewed, because when I got this, it was already too late. This is a spring fragrance. I got this in summer. Now, this one is Narciso, Rodrigues, For Him, Musc, Vetiver Musc. So this is interesting, creative. It has a nice note of vetiver. It's also very, very creamy. And it also has this note of red algae, which gives it a sea-like smell or oceanic smell, which I thought was quite creative. But since the weather was too warm, I just couldn't enjoy it as much as I thought I would. But since I haven't reviewed it yet, I'm going to put it just above Sauvage. As I said, Sauvage, on me at least, it smelled a little bit strange. I didn't enjoy it much. On paper, Sauvage Eau Forte smells really nice. So I think it would be a very good trail scent. This one here, I'll review it next year. But just put it above Sauvage Eau Forte. So we've done 4, 8 to come. Now the next 8 fragrances have been reviewed. So let's start. So I reviewed this next fragrance in sort of summer. Again, it's a spring scent and it's a very creative scent. And let me show you the fragrance, and I'm really going to praise this. This one is Hermes H24 Herbes Veves Live Herbs. Now, when I sampled H24 by Christine Nagel, I didn't like it, the EDT, which came out 4 years ago. And I think what Christine Nagel is doing is really producing one good quality fragrance after the other. And she's not far from producing an absolute masterpiece. I've already loved Eau Givre, which I'm a massive fan of. And I like this one as well. So this one is trying to create an urban garden scenario. Urban dweller who loves gardening. This is all about the powerful quality of herbs. Most notably is a green sage smell, which she has used in H24 as well. And then there's this sweetness and juiciness of pear, which confuses you. And then there's this metallic steely smell. And there's another smell of Saikul, which is like patchouli, more clean patchouli, with a metallic and clean sort of a smell. I like the smell. It's fun. It is also creative. It smells nothing like anything out there. It's herbal. It's clean. It's metallic. It's a very, very good attempt at creativity, rather than just creating one sweet fragrance after the other and making you smell like food. This is like nature, herbs, nice fragrance. So this was number 5 from the bottom. Next on my list is a fragrance which is again very creative, and it introduces a note that I would love to smell again and again. And this one is, I recently reviewed it, Gentleman Givenchy Gentleman Society Eau de Parfum Extreme. Now this note, this is a nice fragrance. I really enjoyed it. On my skin, this is not performing, but some of you, after my review, have told me that this performs beautifully on them. So, I like this fragrance. It's got contrasts. So there's coffee, and there is the note, daffodil. I've not smelt it in many fragrances, and daffodil and coffee are mixed with vetiver. And it's a very nice vetiver, and then this woody note. Very nice fragrance, very interesting fragrance. And there's also orris butter, which is part of the Givenchy Gentleman DNA. I've enjoyed this fragrance. I'd like to see more performance personally for me, and I also like to see a clear direction from this fragrance. As I said in my review, I wasn't quite sure what this is trying to do. Is it trying to be a vetiver scent, or an orris amber scent, or a floral sort of a woody scent? I wasn't quite sure. There wasn't enough of any of those notes to make me say, okay, this is a vetiver scent. No. So there's a little bit of everything here, but it's still a nice scent. And if it works on your skin, you could have this. It's a very versatile scent, very classy scent as well. Highly enjoyable. I like this fragrance. Next on my list is another fragrance which has the same sort of a base smell. Either it's amberfix or some sort of an amber char jelly smell, which is part of the Givenchy main DNA. And this fragrance, this is from a house which I really love. This is Prada. Prada Ocean Le Parfum. Ocean name confuses people because there's nothing oceanic here. And Prada recently have been a little disappointing as far as I'm concerned, because there have been a major shift as far as Prada is concerned. From that beautiful soapy iris, they've moved to this new sort of a base chemical which has shower gel like smell, and it also has a very clean vibe. And on top of that, they're building these ocean like fragrances, ocean line of fragrances. And this one here, more emphasis is on citrus, very sour, amber and woodiness. Again, it's a nice fragrance, but it leaves you with a thought that is this an amber fragrance or this is just a woody clean scent, because there isn't enough of any of those differentiators, if you like. So yeah, nice fragrance, but leaves you with little thought in the back of your mind. You're thinking to yourself, what is this fragrance trying to do? So that's why it's a little low in the list here, but still a good fragrance. So last 5 left. So let's have a little sip. Last 5. Next on my list is a fragrance that was trying to do, or is a fragrance that Hugo Boss Absolu was trying to do. This is fruits, saffron and leather. Dolce & Gabbana Que Parfum Intense. Now, Que Parfum Intense, yeah. Eau de Parfum Intense. So, Que is a line which is impressing me. This fragrance has impressed me. And I've done a full review. As I said, everything is reviewed here. And this is figs. I love the smell of figs with saffron and leather. That's exactly what the Hugo Boss was trying to do, but the Hugo Boss uses a sort of an aroma chemical where other notes just can't shine, right? And it's overly waxy. Here you get the leather, you get the beautiful supple sort of a suede-like smell that saffron gives off, and it's a beautiful note of fig. I really enjoyed it. It has terrific performance. It smells great. And I was ranking it a little conservatively, but I think this is a very, very good fragrance. You should sample it if you like fruity saffron leather. Moving on. Next on my list is a fragrance which has really impressed me because of its easy wearability, likability and tremendous performance. It's a fragrance you can put on for any occasion, any situation. It will never let you down. It's a very well made fragrance and it is not well liked. People are not hyping this one. They should be hyping this. Let me show you the fragrance. It is MYSLF Le Parfum by YSL. Now this fragrance is exactly what should be hyped, because if you're trying to get into fragrances, you want to smell nice. You don't want to think too much about it, and you absolutely want to get complimented, and you will get these 3 things from this fragrance. This fragrance is around orange blossom, a very beautiful orange blossom, absolutely fleshy, fruity, sunny, with excuse me, black pepper and vanilla and woods. So it's warm, fruity, juicy, sunny and spicy. Absolutely beautiful, well-made fragrance. This will not impress people who are looking for creativity. This will not impress people who are looking for complexity. But this will impress people who are looking for compliments, who are looking for performance, who are looking for fragrances that are so easy to wear. You don't have to think. And they're versatile. You can throw any occasion at it. Interview, jobs, first date, normal date, anything, it'll work. So in spite of being a very simple fragrance, it's a very effective fragrance if you're looking for a similar sort of an experience. MYSLF Le Parfum. Very impressive. Simple, but very effective. Next on the list is another simple but very effective fragrance. It's a woody fragrance. I was very impressed by the fragrance on how it smells. It smells amazing. This is Burberry Hero Parfum. This is again a house that I haven't reviewed much from, and I was really impressed by how nice this fragrance is. It has this earthy green sandalwood called Amiris. It has green facets, it's very creamy sandalwood, and it has tremendous performance and projection. Just like MYSLF, this has that quality. You don't have to think. You will get a compliment because it smells rather nice and it performs beautifully. So great value for money, and it's also very versatile. It's green herbal sandalwood. It's a calming, lovely little scent. You can throw any occasion at it. It's a brilliant beginner's fragrance, and even if you're not a beginner, if you like compliments, if you like others to smell this on you, wear this fragrance. It also has a terrific note of cedar. I just got cedar, and Aurélien Guichard is the perfumer. He has a way with cedar. He loves using the note of cedar in his fragrances, and he's done a very good job here. So, Burberry Le Parfum, sample it and see what you think about it. I rate it very highly. So, this is in the top 3. So, this was third from bottom. Third from the top, I should say. So, second from the top. Another woody fragrance. Very impressive fragrance. And this is by one of my absolute favorite perfumers, Nathalie Lorson. This fragrance is Zadig and Voltaire. This is really him. Now again, this fragrance is not getting a lot of talk. It should. This is a beautiful fragrance. Oh, I'm going to get a full bottle of this because I really like the scent. So this is a very lush, sort of a grapefruit smell mixed with the smell of Palo Santo. I love the smell of Palo Santo. Creamy sandalwood, smoke, just a little bit, and spices. It's so simple and so beautiful. It smells absolutely wonderful. Just sample it. I wouldn't have to convince you. It has terrific performance, just like the previous scent. You can throw any occasion at it, and it is a compliment magnet. Simple, effective, good performance, and very well made. Nathalie Lorson, she hardly produces bad scents. So, and it is not very popular. Not many people talk about it. And this is number 2 on my list, so must be good. So this is really him. Superb. Now, next fragrance on my list is hands down the best release of 2024. I rate it so highly. It's such a beautifully well-made fragrance. Great concept, great execution, excellent quality, and development. So there's complexity as well for people who like development. Tom Ford Eau d'Ombre Leather. Now again, this fragrance is not being talked about by most people, most big reviewers. Now Eau d'Ombre Leather, in my view, is the nicest release of 2024. And I don't care what people think, I'm going to get a bottle of this. And Zadig and Voltaire. And most probably Burberry Hero, if I get it for a good price. But definitely this Tom Ford. I'm getting a bottle. Wow, this fragrance is stunning. Okay, I reviewed every single ombre leather. Ombre leather is the concept of having a butch leather, masculine leather with amber. Ombre. But here, they completely changed the direction. They're bringing in vanilla as the warmth. People compare this to, or say that this is inspired by Baby Cat. I haven't tried Baby Cat yet. But, my God, this fragrance is amazing. It has fabulous spices, outstanding suede, beautiful vanilla, absolutely beautiful. The leather is so supple. It's so beautiful. It's just amazing, this fragrance. And the quality of the fragrance is terrific. I've done a full review. Check it out. I gave it a 9 out of 10. There's a reason I gave it a 9 out of 10. There's this makeup vibe as well. The vanilla from the nozzle smells like gourmand vanilla mixed with a makeup vibe. I really like this scent. I don't have to convince myself, I'm convinced. I'm getting a full bottle. And this is #1 fragrance of 2024 in my humble opinion. So, I'm hoping you really like this video. And if you do like this video, do give a like. And before I sign off, I'd just like to say, I wish you a very happy new year. I hope 2025 is going to be a fabulous year for all of us and the entire world. We need more peace, more love, more care about each other. We're all humans. We're all in this together. We can care for each other. So let's hope 2025 is a more compassionate year for the entire world. I'm hoping you really enjoyed this video. Take care. Bye-bye.